Welcome. Welcome back to another live stream. It's a little bit later than normal today. I had some other stuff to do, so couldn't really do a live stream at 8 p.m. But here we are anyway. And I kind of just want to do some sound design today. I don't really have anything to do. I don't really know anything we can live stream about today, but we can always do some sound design. I need some start for another track. Hey, what up, Datacode? Welcome. Yeah, like I said, I just need a start for another track. Not a neuro track. I'm gonna be working on those tracks pretty soon as well. But I'm still taking a little break from it. Don't know. Don't really feel inspired for the neurofunk stuff at the moment, so it's a little bit on hold, but it will be back pretty soon. So, the bit you just heard was a Liquid track I actually started working on recently, and it's turned out pretty good, I would say. It's something I like quite a lot at the moment. So, yeah. If you have anything you want to know, just let me know in the chat, and I'll try and answer your question while I try and do some sound design. So, like I said, I kind of wanted to... but we can always start doing some sound design, maybe a little bit of a bass. So I've got UE Diva right here. I'm really liking it at the moment for respaces, to be honest. So... And we need to reset the phase. Now that's, if you are in Diva, you can go here to the trimmers section. And underneath here on reset phase, you want to go here and select oscillator reset. And then you want to just bring these three up. And then every note starts at the same time. The phase starts at the same time every time, which is pretty much what you want when you're designing basses. Hello, Exemption. Welcome to the stream. I've been having a pain in my shoulder today, guys. It's really bugging me. I don't know. It's I woke up today and I had a pain in my shoulder, which is quite fucked. But I hope it'll be gone soon, because it's quite annoying. Because it's, when I'm behind the PC, it's actually really, I just feel it the entire time, basically. It's pretty annoying, like I said. Bless up from Jamaica. Wow. I never think, I didn't think we, well, I don't think we ever had somebody from Jamaica here. Well, at least not somebody who commented, so welcome. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing today, to be quite honest. Hey, dull ghosts, welcome. And welcome, Ferdinand. Welcome to the stream as well. I started the stream a little bit late today because I had some other stuff to do. Plus, the pain in my shoulder is killing me right now, so I initially didn't really feel like streaming tonight, but I thought, why not? I mean, I'm just sitting here behind the PC trying to make some music, so why not just stream anyway? Would you be able to do some drum design in Serum? We can try. I mean, I might need to do some simple drums for a track. I mean, I'm making some more liquid aimed stuff lately, just because I'm kind of taking a break from neuro stuff at the moment. But you know, let's just try and make a bass, a Reese, and see if we can get something out of it, and then we'll see in what direction it's gonna go. I have no clue, but if any of you guys want anything to know or want to ask something, just do it, and I'll just answer your question. So I think I'll just start making like a Reese or something. And let's see, I'm still getting used to Uediva, to be quite honest. But I do like it. It has a quite interesting sound. Let's see, we don't need any release. That's better. Greetings from Cologne. Greetings back. Hey, Arjen Lubach. Welcome. Good to see you here, man. If it's the same one. I hope you're the real one. I think you are, but you're following me. I saw that. But welcome, man. Good to see you here. So, I kind of want to make some liquid again. I still hear a click. Let's see. Are we? Yeah, I should probably add a little bit of attack time here. And a little bit of release. So we get no clicks. That's better. Yeah, it's you. Okay, welcome, man. Really nice. So let's put in a few notes here. Let's see. What if we go to A on the end? Let's see if that sounds any good. Not really what I was looking for. That could work. We need probably a little bit more mid-range on top of here. let's try Serum. Yeah, Diva can be pretty heavy on the CPU, to be honest. But it's a really good plugin. It sounds a little bit analog, you know. It's not, of course, it's not an analog synth, and definitely a true analog synth will sound better. But I find it sounds less digital than most soft synths out there. So for especially liquid drum and bass releases, I definitely like the sound of it. So let's put the same notes in here. New PC soon. Yeah, man. I'm actually doing a video at the moment about the whole situation of me getting a new computer. I'm doing a video because there are a couple of things happening right now on the PC market that I think I could talk about. Because I'm seeing, you know, I'm trying to get this new computer and I'm going to be building it from separate parts. But there are a few things on the market happening right now that are just not favorable for buying a computer. And I've been thinking about what the possibilities are and what I can do, and I think I just want to do a video about what I found out and what I think is the best solution at the moment. So look out for that on the channel pretty soon. And yeah, I am gonna get the new PC though. I made up my mind. I think I'm pretty sure about what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna be ordering the parts pretty soon. And then I'll build the PC, and then we'll have a new PC ready to go, which is gonna make the videos much better. So for now, we'll have to deal with the old piece of shit computer. What do you want from the new Serum update if it comes? That's a really good question, because Serum is a really complete synth to begin with. You know, I guess a true arpeggiator would be a good addition. I guess they won't do that because they have their own arpeggiator plugin, so, you know, it's not really needed for them, but I still think a true arpeggiator would be great. I know you can do it within the LFOs. It's perfectly fine to do arpeggiated rhythms with the LFO, but it's just a little bit easier with a true arpeggiator, you know? So, I'm not sure. Okay, Arjen, good to see you here, man. No problem, and I hope to see you back some other day. Will be great, and I'll probably talk to you on social media every now and then again. So see you later, man. ARTFX, just question: when mixing bass, would you have separate reverbs for each sound, or would you use a send/send bus and use one reverb on the group? Let's see. It kind of depends. Sometimes I like to do separate reverbs on the sounds itself, but that's usually when I use the reverb as a sound design element. When I'm doing mixing, I'm actually just usually using something on a return track. I'll usually put like the reverb on the return track during the mixing phase, because then I actually want all the sounds that get reverb to have the same reverb. But I'm not that tidy with everything. Like, I put so much reverb on sounds other than on the center. I do pretty much a lot of reverb on individual channels because I'm sometimes just too lazy to set up a return track and route everything through it. Or I just forget, you know, I just put a reverb on a sound because I think a sound needs reverb, and I'm just, you know, a couple of hours into a track and I'm like, okay, so I've added a whole bunch of reverbs to different tracks. Maybe I just want to replace those with one reverb on a return track, you know, but kind of depends. Sometimes I'll have like two reverbs, one short one and a longer one. Kind of depends what you want to do, but I guess as long as it sounds good, it's not really a problem. So do whatever sounds good. That's probably the best advice I can give. What's on the master? On the master track, I usually have a couple of effects that are turned off. one is Fab Filter, which is usually just there so that when I want to hear my track louder, I'll just turn that on and crank the gain up so that I can hear how it sounds when it's squashed a little bit. I don't usually have it on when I'm producing, but every now and then I'll just turn it on and see how it sounds when it's loud. This effect right here, Manipulator, is just a little effect that turns everything to mono, and I can flip the phase of it. It's not really needed. I can use the new utility, but whatever, it does the job. So then a spectrum analyzer, which is just there to see what happens. Sometimes I'll replace that with Voxengo Span because it's a little bit more precise, I feel. So whatever, you know, sometimes I'll use that, sometimes I have the spectrum on here. I don't really look at it that much. Every now and then I'll just check it to see if there's anything weird going on. Or sometimes it's just there, you know, when you're mixing a track, for instance, there might be like a really high frequency somewhere in a sound, and you think you hear it, but you're not sure. Then you can go to the spectrum analyzer on the master while everything is playing and just look at the frequency analyzer, just open it up and look like for some peak right here in the top frequencies. And that'll just tell you, like, is it actually there or is it just my mind playing a trick on me, you know? And that's sometimes handy. Plus, if there is like one of those frequencies, like a really ringing frequency in a sound, and you don't know which channel it is, you can bring up the master track and just look at it and just, you know, solo individual channels and go to the master and see when you can actually see that peak. And then, you know which track you have to do something to. So that's just there, you know, it helps every now and then, but it's not really needed. It doesn't do anything to the sound. And then finally, I have SonarWorks Reference, which is just to make my headphones sound flatter. Basically, it's just easier to produce then, because it'll give you a little bit more, well, flatter frequency response on your headphones, and that I find it really nice. It makes these headphones that I use sound a little bit better and a little bit more accurate to what it's actually supposed to put out. So that's just there. I've been starting to use that recently. I'll be doing a video on that as well pretty soon, so keep your eye out for that. Mostly at 3K, I guess. Not sure what you're talking about, but so I'm thinking what to do. Let's start just with maybe some chords. I think some chords, because I mean, we're talking about liquid drum and bass, right? So chords work really well for that. let's use these notes to build some chords from. So that's G minor. See, so now we can actually start hearing what we're doing. Let's start over with this part, because this first part sounds nice. I think, at least. What can we do? I'm thinking of a chord progression, guys. I guess that can work. Not really a fan of that last chord. Change the key to D minor. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look up the key of D minor so that I know which notes I can work with. Because I'm not that good at musical theory, guys. I have this handy website that'll allow me to show me exactly which key I can use. So let's look for that. And let's go to a D minor. Which one should we do? Let's just do D natural minor. So let's start off with a D minor chord. That's the first thing we can do. And then we can, let's try out going to an A minor. Then we can go to an A sharp if we want. That already sounds quite interesting. Let me make this window a little bit smaller so that I can actually see the chat as well. So there we are, D minor. We could go to C major. Or F major could also work, maybe. Okay, I'm not sure what I did there, but maybe. Like, what is that for a chord? It's an A major. Now, the A major is not supposed to be in this scale, but it kind of sounds interesting, don't you think? Let's put a bass line under this. So we start in in D. It's pretty low, isn't it? D, we can go up to an E and then to an F. isn't really that good. It kind of works. Kind of works. New font in Ableton 10, not so good. I'm actually quite a big fan of it, to be honest. I don't really think it's that bad. I'm quite used to it already. Select both MIDIs. Yeah, you can. You can select both the MIDI files. And you can see. Kind of works better if you make the tracks a different color as well. I'm not sure about that note because we get really high or really low. But on F it kind of sounds nice. Yeah, because it's an F major chord, so... Will 116 note ARP suit this? Maybe. Let's find a plucky sound in Omnisphere. Why don't you edit both at the same time? Pretty much because I'm not used to it. Because I forget it. That's pretty much why. Like, it's really I really have to switch up some things in my workflow, but that takes a little bit of time, you know. I've been working with Ableton for so long without it, so you know, it's a little it takes a little bit of time to actually get into that habit. But it will happen at some point. Come on, Omnisphere. Good. So let's find a plucky synth. So now let's see. I think, yeah, that the fifth bar is the same as the first. Let's see. Because that's a D minor chord. Yeah. And I think this is a D minor as well. No, it's not actually. This should be a D minor, but it's one note off. Let's see. It's an F major chord, actually. It's an F major chord. I think it's actually a bug what it's doing there, because it's playing the higher note twice. Let's see. Yeah, see, it loops actually perfect, but when it loops... That's actually a bug in Ableton Live 10. When it loops back to right here, like the start position of the project, it somehow tends to play a note double. I'm not sure why it does that, but they'll probably fix it, but... See? It just does a weird thing. It's kind of awkward, but... It's supposed to sound like this. So we can probably change the baseline now as well. Let's see. It's happening due to pitch change legato. No, I'm not sure. It's I think it's actually a bug in Ableton. I see it happening with a lot of instruments actually. Sometimes it even plays it'll even glitch on drums when it loops back to the start of the project, which is really awkward, but I don't really think it's got to do with settings in a synth, because I really have seen it with a whole variety of things, so I'm not sure, and it hasn't ever done that in Ableton Live 9, so it should have something to do with the changes that they've made. So, one thing I don't like about D minor is that the key is so low that I would like the bass line to go down right here. But this would be too high up, I think. Or maybe not. See, that F note is really low. I'm not sure about this low of a key. Yeah, it does sound quite nice, actually. I'm more used to working in around F minor, G minor. That's probably mostly where I'll work at. So this is quite different than what I normally do. And actually that F sounds quite nice. So you're into liquid stuff. Yeah, man, I'm definitely getting into liquid. I haven't... Well, I pretty much stayed away from it for quite a long time, because it wasn't really my thing. But somehow, it kind of grew on me. And before you know it, you're actually making liquid yourself. I think I have about 6 liquid projects right now that are close to being finished. So that's within like the last 1.5 week, which is crazy. So let's see. The thing with ARP, it's with note lengths. No, I mean, it only happens when you loop back into the start of the project. It's really weird. It really has to do with that particular thing. Like when you loop from here to here, it just glitches. And it places the higher note twice, while when you loop from this section to the next section, which is right here, is the exact same chord as the one right here. So that should be exactly the same. But it doesn't. This one starts at the bottom note of the chord, like it should, like the arpeggiator is set up like. Yeah, it doesn't re-trigger, but only when it loops back to the start of the project. It's simply a bug. I'm pretty sure of it. It simply doesn't re-trigger, which is kind of awkward, but I guess it fixes itself when you move everything in a little bit so it doesn't loops back to the start of the project. Let's see how that does. No, then it's actually, it'll do it as well. That's strange. That's really strange. No, it hasn't got anything to do with the release time, guys. It doesn't have anything to do with the patch. This is a bug with Ableton Live. It's got nothing to do with the patches. Because it happens on a lot of different sounds. It happens on drums as well, most likely. Probably if you have a bunch of drums looping, then it might do some weird glitchy stuff as well. Let's see. Maybe if we put a drum break in here. Let's put a random drum break in here. Let's see what happens. So let's make a really just some quick glitchy edit here or something. So that something busy is happening in this point. Let's just do... I don't know. Let's just do that. Let's see how that loops. And now let's see how it loops if we do this. Okay, so that's actually pretty much spot on. So it doesn't really happen with drums. That's good to know. But it does happen with a lot of different MIDI patches, like a lot of different synths. In my opinion, making only something heavy style music like neurofunk is pretty boring. It's interesting to make new sounds, but in most cases there are no interesting melodies. Yeah, well, for me it was just, you know, I was working on the same stuff for such a long time that it kinda... I didn't really felt inspired anymore. You get these moments every now and then, you know, when you're working too much on the same stuff for a long period of time, you'll get stuck or uninspired, or some people like to call it writer's block. So what do? You just do different things and see what happens. And I decided to try out Liquid. Somebody in the comments on my YouTube videos actually said it to me, like, you should try your hand at Liquid and see how it goes. So that's what I did. Yeah, usually what I'll do when I have an arpeggiator using the Ableton Live arpeggiator, what I'll usually do is I'll route the output of this track into a new MIDI track and simply record the MIDI that comes out of it. So I think that should be possible, right? Just routing that into... I think it should be possible to take the MIDI. So yeah, if we take the input right here, set this to record, I think. See, and now when we record it, it actually loops perfect. No, it doesn't. Or it does. No, see? It plays that high note twice. Kind of awkward. But we have the first half. So yeah, you can actually just record the MIDI, which is pretty cool. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm glad that you're making Liquid now. Okay, well, I'm actually close to making a full EP with Liquid. So I'm really happy that this is happening right now because I've had way too long of a time that I haven't released new music. And with the whole neuro stuff being so heavy on sound design, it's complicated, you know? Neuro music, neuro funk, it's not easy to make. It's a lot of sound design. And it's a lot of tweaking to get the sounds to sound right. You know, when you have so many elements in a track, it's really easy to make things sound bad. And making it sound right just takes a lot of time. So that's also a part of why it became a little bit uninspiring for me at the moment. So that's why I really started doing different stuff. And Liquid somehow, I don't know, but somehow the Liquid stuff just comes out really easily. As soon as I have like a good chord progression going and a good first sketch going, from there on it just goes really quick, and it's a bless. You know, it's really easy. That low bass note is nice. I like how it stands out. Yeah, actually, I like that pretty well as well. I like it as well. It's nice to have that low bass note in there. I think I'll do this D minor thing. It'll be nice to try. Layer with a choir mixed well. I can mix a choir in here. I can mix a choir. What up, K100? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, you can record the actual MIDI, and then you can just link that up to whatever synth that you want, which is really awesome. But for now, we'll just use this one or one of the other plugs in here. So, somebody asked for drum design in Serum, right? Well, I guess we can make a kick drum in Serum and actually have that kick drum be in the key of D. So let's solo that track, and let's bring up Serum. Now, I don't really make drums with Serum, to be quite honest, but it's interesting to try. Use Spire for the ARP, maybe. Yeah, we could try that out later. I think I just updated Spire, so should be good. But first, we can make a little bass drum in Serum. So we are in the key of D. So the first thing for a kick would be to assign an envelope. Now, I like to use the LFOs for drum design because you can set the LFO to envelope mode, so it just loops once. So, it doesn't loop, it just plays once, and it just acts like an envelope. I find that really nice because then you can actually use the synced speeds. So then you can actually make sure that the pitch drop of the kick drum is exactly 1/8 note or exactly 1/4 note, which is really, really handy. I like to make a little bit of a curve like that. And go in here, set LFO number 1 to the global master tuning. Now, sometimes when you do that, it'll jump right here to a bipolar mode. What I'll do is just click that so it goes only up. Now, you don't hear anything yet. I want to go into the global tab, and right here I want to say double click for typable values on controls. So you enable that, and then you go back to the matrix, and when you double click here, you can actually type something. So the greatest thing about that is that you can actually type in semitones. So if I do 12 ST for semitones and then hit enter, it's going to jump to the value of, why are we not seeing that? Show values when adjusting controls. No, I don't want that. I only want to see it when I hover over it, not when I adjust it. That's kind of awkward, but anyway, it jumps to 9, which is equivalent to 1 full octave. So now I'm going to make that pitch drop 1/8 note. Now this is 1/4 note, so it's actually longer, but this means that the pitch drop only takes this time. And this final kick drum will be shorter than what it is right now. Now I want to use another LFO to kind of shape the attack of that kick drum. So I'm going to assign LFO number 2 to the global master tuning as well. Let's just do a little bit more free, not really paying attention to the pitch. So there we have a little bit more of a kick. Now let's make this note a little bit shorter. Let's give this a little bit of release time. And now let's bring down the decay time as well. I still think it's too long, but we'll deal with it. Now we can add a little bit of noise. Now you have all these attack ones right here in Serum. Those can be quite interesting. You just have to enable the basically that knob. That means that it'll only play once. It doesn't loop the noise file. And just make sure the random phase is all the way down and the phase knob is all the way down as well. What about attack? Needs a punch, right? Yeah, it obviously needs a punch. Now we can also turn this on. That'll actually pitch it up and down depending on what key we're playing. It's not really changing the pitch, I think. Oh yeah, it is actually changing the pitch. Let's just see how that sounds. I like that high-pitched click on top of it. Don't want to make it too loud. Now, we can try one final LFO to the pitch and make this one really short, so probably 1/16 notes, and set this to LFO envelope mode as well. And do one final one on the global master tuning here. Let's just freeze and flatten this. I think I deleted something. Yeah. Let's undo that. Bring back Omnisphere. And then let's freeze and flatten. So now we can actually see what the kick looks like. Let's make that a bit shorter. And let's start processing this. So let's make it, we need to make it louder. That's the first thing. But let's put an EQ on here, so we can actually see what it's doing. Let's put a high pass right below that. That frequency right there. And let's open this up a bit. And let's add another point on the key of D, pretty much. That's about 95, 93 hertz, about there. Let's make a sharp Q and let's increase that a bit. Okay, we might want to do that an octave up. So that would be around 140 hertz. Well, let's just not do it. Let's just keep it like that. We have a little bit of a weird boost going on right there. So let's just bring that down a bit so it's a little bit more flat. Now let's put a saturator on here and let's add some saturation. So let's freeze and flatten that again. So now that we have a little bit more of a kick drum. Still not that happy with it, to be honest. Let's try isotope alloy on this, and let's see if we can bring the transient out a little bit more. Because it sounds a little bit weak at the moment. I love it when you go live, so fun to watch and learn. I'm glad that you like it. Welcome, Ninja Flash. I think I saw your name before, so welcome back to the stream. Juicy. Sounds a bit basic right now. That's what I would say. Welcome, Sub-Frequency. Welcome to the stream. So, if any of you guys have a question about what I'm doing right now, then let me know in the chat, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. As you might be seeing, I'm just doing some random sound design, trying to come up with something for a track, and isotope as alloy is taking a really long time to open, as usual. It always does that. I don't know. It's the same thing with isotope ozone for me. It takes a really long time to open up. But there it is. So, Let's open up the Transient Shaper in multiband mode. And let's see. Why so slow loading plugins? Because my computer is old and slow. That's probably the biggest reason why. Yeah, I can run Diva. It's not that bad. Let's just go with this and let's freeze and flatten that so that we can see how that looks. Let's put a camel fat on here and bring the tube up a little bit. I mean, it's a basic kick drum. It's too quiet for what we have right here, but if you freeze and flatten a track, is it possible to modify the original MIDI track later? No. If you freeze and flatten something, it actually replaces it with audio. Now, you can freeze a track. If you only freeze a track, then you can unfreeze it and you can change the MIDI if you want. But if you actually do a freeze and then you do flatten, then it'll make it into an audio file, and then you cannot change the MIDI anymore. So only freeze and flatten if you're happy with what you have, and if you think you actually need to turn it to audio to make it better. You know, that's when I'm doing drum design, I need to see the audio so that I can see what it visually looks like, because that'll make it easier to actually spot any issues, like phase issues in the low end or stuff like that. It just makes it easier when you're actually able to see the frequencies in the kick drum. Like right now, I can see that this looks pretty okay. That first section here is a little weird, I would say. And the transient needs to be way louder. Like, I'm not sure about this kick. I made a few other kicks recently. That I think look pretty good. Like, see, these kind of kicks, these are the ones that I made recently. And they look pretty good for a kick drum, so... You can see they all look pretty similar. I'm liking these last few a lot, actually. See, if you compare these two, you can just hear that this one sounds a lot better. Maybe if we take this transient and layer it underneath this one. Sounds kind of weird. Maybe we'll just use this kick drum instead. Because that one sounds quite nice, to be honest. Probably needs a bit of EQ, but that's alright. Yeah, I'm not too happy with the kick drum. I think I'll just use that other kick drum. Pitch lower on the first kick and it will be good. I'm not sure. I think if it will be even lower, it'll actually start to sound pretty shitty. But let's try. What if we take the low end from this kick, because the low end sounds pretty good on this one. It pretty much sounds shit as well. So, I don't know, guys. Probably we'll just use a completely different set of drums. What are we making? We're doing random stuff right now, making some random sounds just to see what we can come up with. And so far we made a simple Reese, really low-passed one, good for liquid drum and bass. And we made a little plucky thing with Omnisphere, which was mostly just, you know, playing around with the arpeggiator, trying to come up with something nice. I'll probably look for a different synth. Let's find a quick drum loop so that at least we have some drums going. I don't really feel like making drums at the moment. I'm not sure why, but I'll probably have something here. Eveson liquid drum and bass. Let's see. Do we have something here? A little bit of a drum loop, something that at least we have some rhythm going. Let's see. Like half of these loops, I'm wondering what is liquid about them, but might be me, but they just sound like generic drum and bass stuff. Let's just go with that. See, I'm not really liking that at all. Maybe we have something else here. Yeah, that's a little bit better. It's not what I was looking for, but it's better. It's a better of a drum loop. Let's see. That'll do for now. Guys, you're all talking about mixing stuff right now. I'm doing some random sound design. I'm just trying to come up with an idea. I'm not really paying attention to the mix at all. I know that the kick is lost. I know that the reeds needs to be thicker, but that's not something to bother with right now. Because that'll just get us stuck doing mixing stuff while we're not supposed to do mixing stuff. See? Welcome, Gray. Welcome to the chat. Let's see. Let's take these chords. And let's put those on another MIDI track. So here we have Omnisphere, and let's just let's try and find a pad that sounds nice with these chords. We might have to change the notes at some point, but for now this'll do. Whoa, that's really loud. And let's bring up one pad in particular that I know really well, sounds really well, is one that we can use to at least make sure that the chords sound nice. It's pretty much just a string patch. Let's see how that sounds with the other chords, with the more open voicings. That sounds really nice, if I may say that. Let's get a piano in here as well, because it wouldn't be Liquid without a piano. So let's go for one of Contact's, most likely. Probably Una Corda. Sounds like I'm in a theater. That's nice. Now, I really like that patch in Omnisphere. It's like a Hollywood-type strings patch. It's not as realistic as some Contact libraries, or obviously realistic real strings, but it's definitely a good-sounding string patch. And it's one that's relatively low on the RAM memory, so that's good for my computer because I only have 6 GB, so that's why I cannot wait till I have the new computer and actually have the full-on 16 or 32 GB RAM memory, so that I can actually start fully utilizing these big Contact libraries, because that'll make it a lot easier. I'm a big fan of film music, and I would actually love to do more videos about those kind of stuff, those kind of sounds, especially with these big Contact libraries, like full-on orchestral stuff. I used to do those a lot in my tracks, and I think it actually suits Liquid drum and bass very well. But right now with this computer, it's just hard to do. So, as I said, I'm going to be posting a video about my current thoughts, my current, my feelings about the whole PC market right now, because we all know that the PC market at the moment is really shitty. It's a really, really horrible time to be buying a new computer. at least to be building one. And I'm going to be posting a video about that on my channel this upcoming week, where I'm going to be talking about what I'm going to be doing and what I thought would have been the best, is going to be the best solution to my problem. Because basically, buying the computer right now is the worst timing I could have had. But, you know, I got to deal with it because I really need the new computer. I cannot wait another year or so. I just don't have the time. So the new computer is going to be ordered in the upcoming week. I've wanted to order it last week, but I had the entire build selected and then a few parts were suddenly out of stock, so I couldn't order it. And I'm waiting now for the stock to be back in, and then I'll order the parts separately, and then I'm going to build it up myself. So that's going to happen pretty soon, and it's all around the corner pretty much. So good times ahead, to be quite honest. Now, let's load up a piano. Let's do... maybe this one could be nice. The Emotional Piano by, what is it? Sound Iron. Let's just use the Master Light Patch. I think that'll be a little bit easier on the RAM. But yeah, the new PC is going to be a beast, guys. It's actually going to be a really good one. An i7-7820X as the processor. Like I said, 32 GB of RAM, most likely. I've made a little change in the build, so I have a little bit more money to spend, so I can actually, instead of going 16 GB, I can actually go 32 GB, which is gonna be really awesome. And yeah, that's gonna make it so much better. And you know, I'm gonna be building the PC myself, so while I'm at it, I'm actually I've selected a motherboard that has RGB lighting on it, so I can actually, you know, build a proper, good-looking case that's not only efficient performance-wise, but is also looking good, because I'm gonna be moving pretty soon, or at least I hope so. I'm responding to houses at the moment and looking for a different place. So when that's happening, I'm gonna be building a proper studio, or at least a proper music production studio where I can sit down and just, you know, produce music and actually am surrounded by a good-looking room. And then I would love a computer that actually looks good, you know? And so while I'm at it, I can, well, just as well put a little bit more effort in it and actually, you know, make the thing look nice. So the case I'm going to be using for the new build is the Fractal Design Define R6. I've been looking at the case and it looks like an awesome case to build in. Looks like I'm going to be having a lot of space to build, and it's also, it looks like it's a case with good airflow. So yeah, that's a couple of things I was thinking about with the build, and it's going to be ordered really soon. So, let's put these notes in here and let's see how they sound on a piano. No, I'm not gonna, I'm, because of my budget right now, I'm not gonna go for a 4K monitor. I am probably going to upgrade to a 4K monitor as soon as I go and build the new studio space, but, right now, on my desk, I cannot even fit a 4K monitor. Right now, my, current monitor, doesn't the Define R5 actually have pretty horrible airflow? I've looked at it, yeah, and the Define R5 did show up that it had not as good airflow, but I think they actually listened to those complaints. And right now, the front is still closed off. It's still a closed off front, but they've included these slots on the sides that actually let in the air. And I've been looking at reviews, and a lot of people have been saying that the airflow is really good. So, I think they've actually addressed that issue. So, but I'll be looking into more reviews before I buy it. So I'm not, the case can change, you know. The case is just a matter of the, you know, the thing where you put everything in. You can change that out. It's not really a set case that I've put my mind on. But for now, that case looked like a really good choice, and it simply looked like one that definitely would allow me to do a lot more upgrades in the future as well, with a lot of slots for hard drives and you know, a lot of options basically. And that's definitely something I've been looking for, because and definitely a bit of a more premium build case compared to the one I have right now. With my current computer, which I built like years ago, I was on a really tight budget, so I pretty much took the cheapest, still good-looking case out there. Now, I settled on this really cheap Sharkoon case that I kind of regret. The airflow isn't that good, but it's okay. It's not that bad. But the thing I have the most complaints about is the poor build quality. Like, everything is made out of this really cheap plastic that, well, whenever you put a little bit of pressure on it, it just snaps. So there's probably about 2 of the panels in the front that you can pop out that are held in place by these plastic, I don't know, they snap into place with these plastic holders, and whenever you put a little bit of pressure on it, you just press right through it, and it just, you know, it pretty much won't snap into place anymore, so you just have to kind of align it and just leave it sit there, don't touch it anymore, and it'll hopefully stay. But yeah, I don't know if the current Sharkoon cases are any better, but the one I have is definitely not one that I like. So I definitely want to put a little bit more money in the case than I did last time. So the Fractal Design cases do come out of the tests really well. So I have been looking at those. I was also looking at a few Cooler Master cases, but not too sure. I don't really like the look of them. Sometimes I do, but they have one that looks pretty good, but that one then has that weird green line around it, which I absolutely don't like. I want my case to be pretty much black or black and white, pretty much. I don't want any color in there. If I want to add color, I'll do that with some LED lights that I can change the color of, you know, so that I can always change the color of the case. I don't need any color in the case itself. But, you know, I'll just look into it. I'll see what other ones are there. And who's that? Welcome, SDM XXX21? I think that was right. Yeah. Welcome. Ableton X. Yes, this is Ableton Live 10. So, I've been running Ableton Live 10 for the last, what is it, 2 months or so? But, yeah, I bought the upgrade, and I'm now running the actual official release. So, I have to say I'm really happy with it. It's definitely a good upgrade. What about the Fentax Eclipse P400s? Those are actually really nice as well. I've been looking at them and they definitely look very, very nice. They definitely look good. The only issue is that the store that I buy my stuff at does not have it. So I might hit them up and just see if they can order it for me. Or I'll just order the case from somewhere else. But I'll look into that one. I actually looked it up and it looked like a pretty good case as well. I definitely like the look of it. It looks really clean, and that's something I like. It needs to look clean, modern, you know. I don't really like those gamer cases, you know, those fancy looking cases with all the sharp edges and stuff like that. Most of the time black with red LEDs. Absolutely don't want anything like that. Don't like the look of those cases. It's just, no. I just want something that looks clean, you know? I don't need something that looks like I just stepped into a futuristic space vehicle or something like that. But, yeah. Especially that combination of black and red LEDs, it just makes me cringe, pretty much. So, but yeah, the Fentax cases do look really nice, and I'm not sure how the airflow is on those, but I've read a few reviews and they showed that it was pretty good, so I'll have to check them out. But yeah, those gamer cases, just, I don't know, man. Especially those MSI cases, the ones by MSI, which are, I forgot the names, but they're all black with red LEDs and red fans. You can't miss them. I don't really like that. I mean, it looks kind of fancy, right? But I mean, it doesn't look that fancy to me. So let's see if we can make this piano sound a bit more realistic. Probably if we change some of the velocities here. Most of this gamer case are made of plastic and are pretty cheap. Yeah, that's probably what I was expecting. I mean, they make these cases look really fancy, or at least they try to. I would say it's debatable. I don't think they're looking that fancy. It looks more cringy than fancy. More like, oh, look at me. I have this really fancy looking case. But my idea is like, when they make the case look like that, they have to sacrifice something elsewhere, right? So they must sacrifice on build quality, because how else can they make these cases with these really crazy shapes and stuff like that for that price, you know? It doesn't really make sense. So I would much rather have like a case that is completely blacked out, maybe white on the inside, that could be cool as well, but just black or white and just, you know, have like a glass panel in the side. That would be cool. I like that. I like to see what's in the inside of my computer, so that I can play around a bit with some LED lighting. That would be nice. But other than that, I don't need anything more fancy than that. So I do like the tempered glass ones, especially because my current one has a cheap plastic one on the side. It's like a plexiglass window. But that scratches really heavily. So by now it's a couple of years old and it's full of scratches. So the tempered glass one would definitely be good. Why don't you get a 16GB MacBook and Bootcamp Windows? Because why would I? Why would I get a MacBook? I want to have something that I can upgrade along the way, and I don't want to have a MacBook. I've worked on Macs before when I was in art school, when I did a graphic design education. I worked a lot on Macs back then, and I mean, they work nice and they work well, but I'm a full-on Windows user, and I've been that for my entire life. I love the upgradability of it. I love how much I can tweak the system, how I can, you know, do all these crazy things that, you know, normal users probably would never do. But I like to be able to do all that kind of stuff, and switching to Mac right now, no way, I'm not going to do that. And yes, I could bootcamp Windows, but why would I if I can just get a Windows machine? You know? It doesn't really make sense, to me at least. I mean, if you're used to Mac, then go for it and use it. I mean, it's definitely good, and it's not any worse than Windows. It's just what I prefer. But, yeah. Whatever works, you know, whatever works for you, do it. Do you know Item Caligo, Good Music Project? No, I've never heard of it, to be quite honest. What is it? Tell me about it. I have a Corsair case that's all plain black, kind of average price. It's all metal and beefy. Yeah, the Corsair cases look pretty nice as well. I'm not sure. I looked at one, which I quite liked, to be honest, but it showed that it had a really horrible airflow, and it had quite a few slots for hard drives. So I kind of like want to go for a little bit more of a bigger case. Something along the bigger mid-tower cases, or maybe even a big tower case, because I need a lot of storage space on my computer. My current computer is probably hooked up with, I think there's about 3 or 4 hard drives in this computer, and there's another 3 external hard drives connected to it. So I would much rather have like a few bigger hard drives within the computer, but then I need a pretty big space, a pretty big case so that I actually have the space to put that all in. We do have what is it called, an NAS. We do have one here in the house, but I don't really use it that much. It's not mine, but I can put stuff on it if I want, but I don't really use it at the moment. Item Caligo is a Russian ambient collective or something like it. Okay, well, I've never heard of it, but I'll look it up and see what it's about. I'm gonna be putting I'm gonna be putting a really fast SSD drive in the new computer as well, with a about 1 terabyte one, so I have a lot of SSD hard drive space. So that'll be for all my software, you know, Ableton, all the other software that I run, my video editing software, what else? My photography software, everything like that is going to be on the SSD. Plus, I run so many different programs. Like, I have a lot of software, so I pretty much need a big SSD because I have been looking at what amount of space I'm using right now for software, and it's more than half a gigabyte. So I definitely want a 1 terabyte SSD because otherwise, I can get away with a smaller one, but I'll definitely have to upgrade to another one, put a second one in at some point, because I'll definitely don't have enough with 500 gigabyte. But I found a pretty good 1 terabyte one that it's relatively good in terms of price. So yeah, I mean half a terabyte. You get it. LOL. So let's do some drums in MIDI. I never do my drums in MIDI, but it might actually be easier right now to do some drums in MIDI because I can quickly swap out the kick and snare. Let's try that. Let's make a quick drum loop right now. So I have a drum rack in here now. Let's put a couple of drum sounds in here. I'm just gonna put a few random ones in here so that we have a few kicks and hats to work with and a snare to work with. We'll just use these just really quickly. Why are they? Let's put them right there. And let's take one hi-hat. Yeah, why not? Let's just take that one. So now at least we can make a little bit of a drum pattern. And then we can swap out the drum sounds and look for a couple of good ones. So let's change the grid to 1/8 notes. Well, let's do 1/16. 1/16 is a little bit easier. Don't you use different tracks for drums? Normally what I do is I'll have, normally I have all my drums in audio. So normally I'll have like a separate track for my kick drum, a separate track for my snare drum, and a separate track for my hats. I'll have a separate track for all my other percussion stuff. I'll put everything on different tracks, but right now I'm just trying to come up with an idea, trying to come up with a start of a track. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm most likely going to be splitting these up afterwards. So right now I'll just look for sounds, and because I have this all in one drum rack, I can just quickly just have this play and say like, okay, I like this or I don't like the kick. Let's say I want to change the kick. So now I can quickly go into the kicks here, and let's say I want to change it for this one, and I can just put that one in and quickly change it. See, and then I can always say like, okay, now I want to have just the kick, and I'll just solo the kick channel, just solo that. See, and just record that. And then I'll just do the same for the snare. Record that as well, and then do that for the hi-hat. So then you have the 3 separate, and then you can actually start working from there. It's a little bit different than what I normally do, but I find because I'm struggling a little bit with getting the right drums right now, and just having this drum loop going makes it a bit easier to find the right sounds. So I hope that answers your question. Battery is pretty good as well. I don't think I have it. I don't think so. No, I don't have it, but it's definitely good. No, I don't have battery, but it's definitely good. I've used it in the past, but I'm just a big fan of using drum rack. It's pretty handy. So let's put some let's put a saturator on here just to make it a little bit louder right now. Let's see if we have some kick drum that we can use. Let's go into the drum section here. Let's see what we have. Do you sample songs for breaks or other sounds? Yes, sometimes I do sample breaks. I have a big collection of breaks. Now, most of the ones in here are from sample packs or, you know, stuff that I sampled myself. Like there's a whole bunch of Apache ones. I got a lot of Amen ones as well. And I just tend to save a lot of breaks from other sample packs all in one folder so that I have them all in one place. And then I also just like to sample stuff from other tracks, like I might have some here. See, those kind of things are really good. So I'll usually just, every now and then when I don't have anything else to do, I'll just sit down, look up some music and just look for good sounding parts and just save those to my folder. And yeah, I'll use a lot of them, but right now I'm not sure. Maybe we can put this one in, see how it sounds. See, that one is a little bit too fast for D&B, but right now I don't really feel like doing that. I'm just trying to make some basic drums for this. Usually when I'll have that and when I'm actually getting to the point of filling up my drums, that's when I'll actually go and look through some breaks or some other percussion loops and stuff like that. But usually first I want to have some good drums going. I really need to find something with some more cleaner kick drums. Maybe in the Leviathan pack by Black Octopus Sound. These are actually labeled by key, which is really nice. So let's see if we take one in the key of D. Make that a bit shorter. See, I like that kick drum a little bit better. It's not as good as I want. Might have to do something to the transient. But for now, I think this kick is a little bit better. And it's in the key of D. So that's really good. Now, please change the hi-hat. Okay, let's find a different hi-hat while we're in the same pack. We can use like a really light one. Like one thing that this kick needs is a good amount of transient shaping, I think. So let's try and put isotope alloy on that. Hey, welcome Don Piper. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back, I should say, because you've been here before. Good to see you back. So let's take a really short noise sound. We need a little bit of a sidechain going, so let's make some noise. White noise. Let's just create one like that, and let's freeze and flatten that. And let's make that about the length of the kick. I'm just gonna make that pretty short. Just do that. So it's pretty much that. That's pretty much all we need. And let's put that underneath the kicks. And let's rename this track Sidechain Trigger. Let's do a bit of housekeeping right now. This is the main drum design track, and let's group that in a group. Let's do a group called drums. Below that is going to be the bass. Oh yeah, and I should color code everything. So the bass is going to be grouped as well in a group called bass. And that is, with me at least, it's always green. So the main drums are red. Bass is green for me. And then we have the piano. Let's group that in a purple group called instruments. Those are all the real instruments. I'll usually put those in their own group so that they're not grouped with all the synth sounds, because otherwise when I process the synth sounds, I usually want to have like different processing on the real instruments. So if I use like real strings or piano, I usually want to put a little bit different processing on those. So usually have them in their own group. And then we have all these ones are actually synth sounds. So we can group that as well. And I usually give my synths a blue color. And we'll call this synths. Let's put that underneath the bass track. So now each of these tracks is going to be set to -8 dB. So that we have a little bit more headroom. And then usually what I'll do, otherwise the stream is going to be pretty quiet, is I'll turn FabFilter on. And just boost that a little bit so that you guys can hear everything well. But let's see. Right. Let's put a compressor on the bass track, on the bass group, I should say. And let's hook this up to the sidechain trigger track. Let's do a 10/1 ratio, something like that. Attack time can be about 90 milliseconds, just below 1 millisecond, or 0.90 milliseconds, so just below 1 millisecond. And release time can be pretty short. Then knee all the way down. And let's bring the look head up to 1 millisecond so we get, well, the least amount of clicks. So let's just start with a simple drum and bass pattern first. We can definitely use that other pattern in the intro of the track. That would definitely be cool. So let's just do that, and maybe do a little bit of a variation on the end. Probably want to have these strings in the instrument group. Now let's see. Let's move this all a little bit further into the project. Drop would probably be around bar number 49. That is at just over 1 minute. Otherwise, it's going to be at, let's see, 65, which will be about 1.5 minutes. So that's good. Let's put everything right there. It would not kill anyone if you added a bit of variation on your high percussions. Yeah, probably. It needs some breaks or some other percussive stuff going on, but it's just a sketch, you know? And for a sketch is good enough. It's there to just give it a little bit of rhythm so that we don't have to turn on the metronome to actually hear the rhythm, you know? You just have a little bit of a groove going. I find that to be a little bit easier to actually, when I'm trying to write something. So let's look for some kind of a texture, ambient kind of sound in Omnisphere for the start of the track, where we could pretty much start the track off with. So something spacious, something ambient, nothing too crazy. That's one thick kick. I'm liking this kick more than the previous one, to be honest. So let's see. We have textures playable. There's quite a lot in here, so let's randomize that and let's bring up the first one. And let's create a D note, a long D note in here. So I'm really liking that. I think if we put some reverb on it, it might even make it sound even more spacious and ambient. Let's put some reverb on that. Let's just Let's just freeze that. Come on. Yeah. And let's make a new audio track. Let's just drag that thing in the new audio track. So now we can unfreeze this, and now we can look for something else. So let's record that one as well, because it also has a little bit of that twinkly kind of sound, similar to the other one, which I quite like. So let's freeze and flatten that as well. And now I kind of want to have a more lower sounding thing. I really like the sound of the upper part of this patch. Let's see if we can get rid of the bass in this patch. I think, yeah, we can. If we turn off the bass part here. Let's see. I should be able to click that, right? That'll do it. Quite like that sound. Let's just freeze it and save this for later so that at least we have this sound. Not sure if we'll use it, but it's a nice sound. I can always save it to my sample folder. So let's see. I kind of like feel we need a pad of some kind. So let's go to the pad category. Let's try and find something here. The patch has some really weird panning going on. Quite interesting though. It's a little bit too hectic, I think. It's a nice sounding choir patch. Let's take the piano. I think I want to start the piano around here. So there's some other choirs in here as well. You can try those out. Just a regular choir. Not has a little bit of a quick attack. Too quick attack, I think. I think I really like that choir patch. Not sure if I want to do it here. Although it quite works. The drop needs to be filled up though, but... So let's see, what can we do with this contact instrument? I haven't really used this particular piano one a lot. Let's see what we have in here. So that's nice. This piano just sounds amazing. What's the contact bank? This is, it's a piano library by Sound Iron called Emotional Piano. It's a pretty interesting one. It has a built-in convolution reverb right here, which is quite interesting. Right now I'm using it as a normal piano. It has a bunch of different patches included. Right now, as you can see, it has a couple of different ones. It has a jazz one. I'm using the normal master light patch, which is a little bit lighter on the CPU. It also has a soft patch, which sounds even more intimate. I really like this one, and as you can see, it's only using 200 megabytes of RAM, so it's not that much compared to, let's say, Una Corda, which can use like up to, I don't know, 1 gigabyte of memory on just one patch, which is crazy. Especially with my current computer, that's not something I can do. I can use Una Corda. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll write with this piano library, and I'll replace it later on with Una Corda when I'm not streaming, and actually then I'll bounce it to audio so I don't have to deal with that library being so heavy on my PC. But I think this piano sounds really good, and it's actually a really nice one, especially for liquid drum and bass, because it has a little bit of that intimate sound, whereas some other piano libraries can sound quite large, and that's not something I want for this track. Let's see which notes are in this scale. So we're in D minor, which is D, E, F, G, A, then A sharp, and then C. So we're pretty much all the white keys except for B, and the B is just going to be A sharp. That's pretty easy to play on. So let's see. I might even be able to play something. Let's just try and jam a bit on this with this patch and see if it's good enough for this particular kind of thing. Not sure about the patch, about the horns. Maybe something a little bit more. Let's see, like a guitar-y kind of thing might be nice. Probably want to do Omnisphere for that. The horns are really nice though, but I might just want to use them for doubling up the chords a bit, or the choir. You know, in the drop. That could work. It will definitely add more of a cinematic kind of feeling to the track. But it's not really a patch that I can play with very easily. Whereas like guitar from Omnisphere is a little bit more playable for me. The contact library involves me having to play with the mod wheel as well to control the dynamics, and it's great. It's a really great thing to have, but I'm not a great player. I'm not really that good on a piano. I can play a little bit, but not that good. I can just jam a bit, and I find it works well if I have a patch. Something a little bit more like that. Let's see what they have going on here with the reverb or the delay. Let's see, which is a good one to use? Maybe one of these. let's see how that capture works, because I just played something. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of the capture feature at the moment. It just seems to capture, like, what is it? 8 bars? That's probably 8 bars, right? Yeah, that's 8 bars, so it captures 8 bars. Like, if I'm jamming for, I don't know, 32 or 64 bars, I might want to capture the entire thing, because, you know, I might want to go through it. So what I like to do is just press record and just play, you know? I mean, we can work with that. Let's see. Now we have to clean it up, because I'm not that good of a player that I can actually play right on the grid. Plus, I'm dealing with a little bit of a latency during the stream, so we have to clean it up a bit. Let's see how that sounds with the plucky sound. Let's try putting this guitar an octave lower. which one should we take? I'm not sure. I like the little melody thing. Not sure about the sound though. Might have to change that up at some point. How long have we been streaming for actually? Is this the new PC? No, it's not. This is still the old computer. It's still the old piece of shit machine that we've been working on this whole entire time. The new PC is coming pretty damn soon. I've had a few issues ordering the PC last week. You know, parts being out of stock and stuff like that. So, I couldn't order last week, but, I made my mind up and it was actually quite good because I had a little bit more time now to look into the parts and I decided that I wanted to switch a couple of things. I'm going to be ordering it most likely in the upcoming week, ordering separate parts, and then I'm going to be building it pretty soon as well. So, how do you arrive to compose so much time in a row? It's pretty hard to get inspiration on long periods. That's true. That's true. For me, actually, I find that doing live streams helps me to get into the zone, you know, get into production. Because when I'm live streaming, I simply have to produce. There's no other way. I cannot just stop producing and say like, okay, guys, that's it. We only streamed for 1 hour. Nothing happened, but that's it. I hope you liked it. You know, I can't really do that. I have to produce and I have to try and make something. So it actually kind of helps me in a way to do some production. Now, I do get your thing. I do get it. You know, it is hard to stay inspired for a long time. And for me, for instance, I was working on these neurofunk tracks a lot in the last few months. And it got to the point where I really wasn't inspired anymore, and anything I didn't really turn out that great. So what do? Well, you try something else. You know, you just do something different for a change. And for me, that became something more melodic, like liquid drum and bass. It's something I don't necessarily do a lot, but, you know, for the sake of doing something else and still doing drum and bass, I thought it was actually a really nice thing to do. So, to be honest, doing this has actually inspired me so much that I now have almost 6 tracks that I just have to finish, and then I have a full-on Liquid drum and bass EP ready. Probably even before the Neurofunk EP is gonna be ready, and I didn't plan this to be that way, but it just happened. It just, it just happened naturally, and sometimes those are the best things that can happen, and I actually think that the Liquid drum and bass EP is gonna be done sooner than the Neurofunk one, because the Neurofunk one I still have a few issues with, and I'm still, tweaking stuff to make it sound better because I'm not happy with it yet. The tracks are there, but I'm not happy with them. They need some work, basically. The mixdown needs work, and there needs to be some details in the track that needs some work on. And I've been trying to, but nothing really made the tracks better. I was really just only making it sound worse. So that to me tells me that I'm at the point where I'm so uninspired with those tracks that it's better to just take a break from them. Right. Sometimes people also ask, like, when are tracks finished? Like, it's really easy. When you get to the point where everything you do is only making the tracks sound different, then you know that you're pretty much done and you should call it quits. If you are making everything sound worse, then you might want to take a break and you might want to come back to the tracks later. If stuff that you're doing is actually making it better, then you know that you're still not there yet and you can keep on working on the track. So that's something I noticed, is that whenever I get to the point where I'm pretty much done with a track, from there on, every change that I make isn't really making it sound any better, it's just making it different. And when I reach that point, I know, okay, the track is done, let's call it quits and let's work on a different one. But with the Neurofunk tracks, I wasn't having that. I was literally just getting to the point where I was making changes, but they weren't really improving it, they were making it worse. And I wasn't also making it different, it really just became worse. And that's usually a sign to me, do something else, work on something else, because you're too uninspired with this track, you've probably been working on it for too long, it's better to do something else for a change. And so I did. And I looked at my YouTube comments, somebody requested or told me, you should try out your hand at Liquid. I think your style of drum and bass, your style of production with the film music stuff would work really well in Liquid. And I tried it out and it naturally got me so inspired that I ended up with a whole bunch of tunes. And that's really, really neat. That's really cool. And it's those moments that you do everything for, that one thing, inspiration hits and you're just on a roll, pretty much. Watching tutorials doesn't really do it for me. Oh wait, you've also said something else. Hey, I'm glad to catch your stream today. What do you think is the best way to start learning music production? Watching tutorials doesn't really do it for me. The best way to start learning music production, I'm gonna say it, are tutorials. Now, let me talk a little bit about it, because I get a lot of people asking me just this exact question. Sometimes they'll formulate it a little bit differently, but usually it'll be along these lines. Sometimes people would say, like, I've watched 1,000 different tutorials, but I'm still not there yet. How can it be? After watching all these tutorials, I should have the knowledge to make good tracks, right? That is theoretically true. You've learned things by watching the videos, so you have acquired new knowledge that you need for making the music. But, and that is the biggest issue that a lot of people seem to have, is that when you watch a tutorial video, you are just acquiring the knowledge. Now, let's look at something else. Let's say you want to be good at a particular sport, okay? Let's say you want to be a professional at a particular sport, just as an example. You can watch 1,000 different games of that particular sport, but that doesn't mean that you're immediately going to be a professional at it just by watching them. You have to practice it. You have to do it. After watching what they do, you actually have to put that into practice so that you can actually master what you've learned. And that is the same for anything you want to learn. So when you want to learn something with music production, you shouldn't just watch tutorials, but after you've watched a tutorial, don't just click on to the next one, but go into your DAW and practice what you've just learned, because only that way you can actually master that particular technique. And I think that is what a lot of people miss out on. A lot of people, maybe it's just people being lazy. I don't know. Maybe they don't realize it. That could also be the case. But I tell this to so many people, and usually it's stuff like that that actually makes people improve. And then a couple of weeks later, they'll come back and send me a message like, "Hey, what you just said actually made a lot of sense, and it improved me." After that, I started putting more. I started looking at it more, and I started really thinking about that, and it kind of helped me out a lot. So that's, I guess, a tip I can give you is that just when you watch a tutorial, don't just go and click onto the next one, but really dive into it. Really start experimenting with what you just learned, so that you can actually see what it does for yourself, you know, because when you watch a tutorial, you're looking at somebody else doing it. And that's great because that's a good way of learning, but you're not immediately an expert on it just by watching a tutorial. You really have to dive in, and you really have to put in those hours to basically get better at it. And, you know, that's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of time, but it's all worth it in the end. And if you want to get better, then that's probably your best bet. So Exemption said, "Yeah, I've got my live streams lined up, but I think it will encourage me to start working quicker and finishing projects." Yeah, that's something that I found out, well, since I started streaming, it's something that I found out as well. It actually helps me to get into the habit of starting new tracks, finishing tracks, and really putting a lot more work in them. Plus, it helps me to sit down for a longer period of time and actually produce, you know? Because what I would do is something that I'm very guilty of, is when I'm producing, I mean, it's only one click away of going from my DAW to YouTube. So, you know, sometimes I'll unplug the internet, but it's not really that good because it's only a small way from my chair to the internet cable. So plugging the internet cable back in, it's not really that difficult as well. So, you know, it's really easy to get distracted. And I find that when I do live streams, I cannot let myself be distracted. So I have to keep on working. And it's a little bit of a different thing than what I'm used to, but it's definitely a good improvement because it helps me to work on a track for a longer period of time and actually get stuff done. Now, it is something that you have to get used to, though. It's not something that was easy in the few first streams, but it's getting easier the more I stream and the longer the streams are. It just gets easier along the way. Hey Kai, I just tipped you with a link to a new Neuro track. I would love to get some feedback on it. It would be great if you would have a listen. I'm doing feedback streams every now and then. I think the last one was 2 weeks ago, so maybe I'll do a feedback stream soon again. I'm going to be changing up the format with the feedback streams. Last time, only people who donated could send a track in. I'm going to change something so that everybody will be allowed to send a track in, even if you don't make a donation. But people that then donate will simply be, you know, played first, basically. So that basically means that when there's no donations coming in, that the people who've just sent in a track will be reviewed. So I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking what would be the best way to do it. The last few feedback streams were just a test to see how it goes. And I do hear you guys. I see your comments. I see what you think about the whole format. And I'm thinking about what is going to be the best way to do it. So look out for the next feedback stream pretty soon. Maybe next week. We'll see. Just keep an eye on my social media. Virtual Riot has really nice streams. He's also very organized like you, ARTFX. Yeah, I watched a few of his streams. I mean, I don't make dubstep necessarily. I used to do dubstep, but I don't really do it anymore. But, yeah, he has some nice streams. I've learned a bit or two from his streams and from his stuff. So, and I do enjoy his music, so. Which is the key? Which is key? Or which is the key? Maybe you were talking about my whole talk about what was it? the whole exercising, practicing thing. That's probably what you're talking about. But if you're talking about the key of the track, this is in D minor. No, I don't necessarily do feedback on the regular streams. I do separate feedback streams, and I'll put a message out on my social media as soon as I do one. You might want to change the YouTube description then. Oh yeah, that's probably still the old description. I'll just leave it there for now. The stream is going to be over pretty soon as well. It's a 1:15 midnight right now for me. So if there's any more questions, guys, I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you guys have any ideas for what I could do with this track, let me know in the chat, because I'll be working on this track most likely tomorrow, and I might be able to do some stuff with some of your guys' advice or some of you guys' ideas. So if you have anything you think would be nice for this track, let me know. And if you wanna join a music production community, while we wait for the chat to catch up and while we wait for anybody to ask a question, if you want to be part of a music production community, I run a Discord music production server, which is growing really rapidly. Every time I do a live stream, more people are coming in, and it's basically a place where we talk about music production every single day. So it's a great place to be. You can ask your questions to all the other members or directly to me and get an answer. And if I'm not streaming, you can still ask me your questions. Now, if you want to ask a question directly to me, always be sure to mention me when you ask me a question in the Discord server, because otherwise I won't see it. There's too many people in there for just me keeping track of all the messages. So if you want to have an answer from me specifically, just mention me and I'll get back at you. If you wanna get one of my sample packs, I release sample packs on Black Octopus Sound, and the sample packs that I release are mostly aimed at drum and bass. I do a lot of drum and bass sample packs, and I do some drum sample packs, and I have a bass preset pack for Serum. If you want to check those out, you can go to the link that's in the chat right now, and that'll link you to the website of Black Octopus Sound, where you can see all my products in one single page. Check out the audio demos and let me know what you think of them. I've been getting quite a lot of good reviews on, especially the Neurofunk drum sample pack. A lot of people seem to like that one, and a lot of people just have been sending me tracks which they made with the product. And yeah, it was just great to see. It's great to see people sending their tracks to me. I really like that, and it's really nice to just get these tracks of people where they use my samples in it, and yeah, it's just nice to see. Same for the preset packs for Serum. When people send me tracks where they've used the presets in, it just, it's nice. I like that. I like to hear the work of my viewers, especially when they've bought a sample pack or bought a preset pack or watched the tutorial and they learned something. I really like it when people send me their stuff, but I do always ask people to at least do it on Twitter, where I'm a lot on, or simply join my Discord server, because that's the best place to send me stuff. So if you ever want to send me something, join the Discord server and become a part of the community. Would be great to see you guys there. So, key is being organized. Yeah, being organized is really important. It's really important. I've been listening to a lot of bass-heavy house music, bass house, G house, and realized all the drops are so compressed, distorted, and clean. What is the key to creating a heavy drop in your opinion? Well, it all starts with sound selection. That's the main part. You definitely want to have sounds that sound fat and sound heavy to begin with. That goes for not only your drums, but it also goes for the other sounds. You need stuff that sounds, that has that energy. But that's the easy part, right? The easy part is to find sounds that work for that particular kind of music. The more difficult part is the actual arranging. The actual arrangement is where I find where most of the energy comes from, Arranging is probably a lot more important than sound design. this goes for a lot of genres, actually. Drum and bass, I would say it depends. Liquid drum and bass, I would say it definitely is more important. Arranging and arrangements and compositions are much more important than sound design in liquid drum and bass. In neurofunk, it's a little bit of a different question, because there I think the sound design is more important, but arranging should never be thrown out of the window, because arranging is really important, and that's where you can actually get that energy from. Now, the final thing, which is also really important, is the mixdown, because you can make a track that has a lot of energy, but if the mixdown is really shit, then that energy is going to be lost. So it's usually a combination of those three things, you know, that make up the final track, and that's going to define what the track is going to sound like. So, with heavy tracks, I don't know, it's usually a matter of having good drums, having a good sound, so good bass sounds, good synth sounds, stuff that works and has a lot of energy, and then it's mostly just a part of arranging them in a way that complements their qualities. So if you know, you want to take sounds that work well together, and then you want to see if you can find some arrangement that works for those sounds, and then it's just all mixing, and mixing is where you can really make things shine. So during the arrangement phase, you can usually get away with some you know, some muddy parts and some issues here and there that needs to be fixed sometime. You can get away with that during the arrangement phase, but in the mixing phase, that's where you're going to fix all those little issues, and that's when the track is really going to come alive. But if the arrangement is shit, you can go on and mix the track, but it's not really going to make it much better. You know, your arrangement has to be good to begin with, and that goes for melodic tracks, but it also goes for heavier tracks. The way you arrange it is what's gonna, you know, that's gonna dictate how the groove and how the energy is gonna feel like. So I would say arrangement is probably the most important thing when it comes to tracks. And depending on the genre, sound design might come second, or mixdowns might come second, but that's up to debate, you know, that depends on the genre and also on your own style of producing. But yeah, I would say arrangement is probably the most important thing, especially when it comes to that question. Yo, Northern Brother, any idea where you legally can get camel fat? You can't, basically. That's basically it. There's no way you can get camel fat legally at the moment, because they're out of business. Camel fat, or Camel Audio, was bought up by Apple, and the only way to really get camel fat right now is by using that new plugin in Logic Pro. The new distortion in Logic Pro X is pretty much a clone of camel fat. So Apple bought Camel Audio, and they basically just used well, they used the software of Camel Audio and basically tweaked it a little bit, changed the look of it, and then just implemented that in the new Logic. That's basically what they did. So was Apple lazy? I think they were, because they got a lot of hate for it. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of people actually don't like what they've done. Because a lot of people were using Camel Audio stuff. Like, I'm a big fan of Camel Fat, and I was using Camel Crusher a lot as well. And one of my favorite synths was Camel Audio Alchemy, and I cannot really use any of those anymore, because I don't have the installs. So, you know, and I do have an installation for Alchemy, but it's not a 64-bit one, and I haven't been able to find one. And even if I do, I don't know if my user account, if my serial number even works. So, you know, basically they just bought it up and said fuck you to all the other people who don't use Logic. That's pretty much what Apple did. But it's fine, you know, there's plenty of plugins out there that are really good. I still have Camel Fat. I just looked up you know, a copy somewhere. I don't mind. They're out of business, so what else can you do, you know? And I'm a big fan of it. I use it a lot, so I need to have that plugin. I mean, I can get similar results with other things, but Camel Fat is just a really nice, quick tool for just putting it on some drums and just quickly getting some more you know, some more loudness out of these drums and just add a bit of distortion or saturation. I find it really great for that. So yeah, I still use it, but it's not a legit copy. Any alternative suggestions? Well, probably the best suggestion I can give you is to get Isotope Trash. Isotope Trash is the most complete distortion plugin out there, at least I think. It has a lot of options, so it's easy to go overboard. It's easy to get lost in it because it's much more complicated than Camel Fat was. But you can get pretty much any type of distortion with Isotope Trash because you can just shape the distortion however you want. So ultimately, you can pretty much create or recreate the Camel Fat sound with Isotope Trash. So if anybody asks for distortion and just asks for, you know, like a universal distortion that they can use on a lot of different sounds, I would say Isotope Trash. It's probably your best bet. You can do really heavy distortion with it. You can also do really light saturation with it. And there's some other panels in it as well that are really handy. It has the equalizers built in, that you can even, the equalizers have LFOs and envelopes as well in them, so that's really cool as well. You can do some modulation with that. It has the it has the convolution reverb, which is also really great. It has a compressor built in and stuff like that, so it's much more than just a distortion. And thanks, Crafty Pants Pro, for the follow. But it has a lot more than just that, and it's just a really nice distortion plugin to begin with. Homicide is one that I used to use. I was a big fan of Homicide until I found out about Isotope Trash. The one thing about Homicide is that I don't like is the interface. You know, the way it looks. I like the colors though. The colors are nice, but just the way the whole plugin is arranged, I don't really like that. I find working with Isotope Trash is a lot more easy for me, because just the layout of the plugin just makes more sense to me. It's more, it's less busy to the eye for me. It makes more sense. Whereas what is it called? Homicide just looks a bit more, I don't know, it's not that clear to the eye what does what compared to Isotope Trash, but it's still a really good distortion. These 16 VSTs are also cool. Yeah, that's true. The Decimord is one of my favorite bit crushers, and Devastator is pretty cool as well. Devastator is a nice distortion plugin. It's not as complete as, for instance, Isotope Trash, but you do get a lot of control over the distortion. So it's a great one. I don't use it that much. I probably should use it more, but it's definitely a good distortion. Yeah. ARTFX, I would really like to watch you produce a more commercial style D&B track with just respace notes but high synths on top like some of the producers on RAM. Who knows, maybe we'll do something like that next, in one of the future streams. Like, I am definitely getting more into more commercially sounding drum and bass at the moment. Like, liquid drum and bass is definitely a step into a more commercial direction, for me at least, compared to what I normally do. So, I don't know. Maybe stuff like that will happen at some point. I'm interested to know how they mix them together. Yeah, I mean, it will all be new for me too, because I never really done commercial drum and bass, but I'll definitely be interested to try it out, you know? Hey, welcome Chris. Welcome to the stream. WoW 2. WoW 2 is also nice, although I am a big fan of WoW version 1. I'm not sure why, but I like WoW 1 more than WoW 2. I have both, I think at least. I used to have both. Maybe I only have WoW 2 now. Let's see. Yeah, I only have WoW 2 at the moment. I used to own WoW 2, WoW version 1 as well. And that one I actually like more. I used the band reject a lot that was in WoW 1. And the band reject in WoW 2 sounds slightly different. It has a different sound to it. Now you can get close by tweaking the resonance, but it's not 100% the same as the band reject in WoW 1. So I like the band reject in there a lot more. It was a band reject that was able to cut out a lot of the mids somehow. It was just a really wide band reject. And you can obviously you can change the width, but I haven't really got to the point where I got the same results with WoW 2, but it's definitely a nice filter plugin with some good distortion options in it. So I find it's definitely nice to do on Neuro Rhesus. It's definitely a good one for that because you can apply filtering and then you can apply distortion to it at the same time. So it's kind of like a great plugin for that because usually when you add filtering to neurobases, you probably want to distort it as well. So it's great to have those two things in one plugin. But then again, I don't really like how less of how little control you have over the distortion, you know? If I'm used to Isotope Trash, where you have pretty much you have as much control as you need over the distortion. And you don't really have that in WoW 2. You have a few different presets that you can choose from, and that's fine. But, you know, I like control. I like to be able to dive in and tweak every little thing so I can make it exactly how I want it. And, you know, it's still a good plugin, though. It's still definitely a good plugin. There was also some interesting distortion unit from FX Pension. I do like the synths that they put out. FX Pension has a couple of nice synths. They're a little bit complicated, I would say. Wait, FX Pension is Decam, right? Those are from FX Pension, I think. Let's see. I think these are. I'm not sure. They're called Decam because that is the pack. Those are some nice synths, though. They can make some really nice sounds, and you have a lot of different options that you can play with. But it's not really, well, you can see it looks a bit complicated, you know? It's not really a clean-looking GUI. And yeah, this is FX Pension. But it's not really a clean-looking plugin, if you ask me. It has a lot of different things, and yeah, you know, it's a great sounding one, and you can make a lot of good stuff with it. And as you can see, you have a lot of different things that you can do. But if you compare it to, for instance, Serum or Massive or any of the other bigger synthesizers out there, it should be pretty clear that this is not clean looking. The GUI is terrible. Yeah, indeed. I mean, let's just compare. Let's just compare Serum to Cypher. I mean, looking at them side by side, you're probably gonna say like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, you can kind of see what happens here. You've got your oscillators on the left-hand side. You've got two wave shapers there. But I mean, just looking at these side by side, I mean, this is so much more easy to work with. Same goes for Massive, or I would even say Omnisphere is much more simpler to work with. The synthesis engine in Omnisphere is much more simple to work with than this even. I kind of wish that they put some of these things maybe on different tabs or something. I mean, I'm not sure if that would work, but right now it all feels very cluttered to me. But it's definitely a good sounding plugin, so in the end the sound matters, and whatever it looks like doesn't really matter, but workflow does matter, and if a plugin's interface looks really horrible, then that is not good for your workflow. How do you find UE Diva? UE Diva is becoming my favorite synthesizer for liquid drum and bass Rhesus. I have been playing around with it a lot lately, and I'm really liking the sound of it. It's a bit heavy on my CPU though, so I have to be careful with it. But yeah, it's such a great, warm sounding digital soft synth. Like, there's a lot of synths out there, but Diva just sounds warm from itself. Like, I'm not gonna say that it sounds analog, but it has a little bit of that analog character to it. Just in the way the oscillators sound, you know? And that's definitely something I like. So yeah, I'm really liking Diva. And I'm a big fan of the UE plugins to begin with. Like, I was a big user of UE Zebra. I really like that one. It's not really one that I use a lot for bass sound design, but for stuff like pads or synths or just weird ambient stuff, I actually think it's a really, really nice one. So, I think I'm gonna call it a day, guys. It's, how late is it? It's half an hour past midnight. Getting quite late, guys. So, I think I'm gonna call it a day. If there are any questions before I stop, then ask them in the chat right now, so I can ask them before I stop the stream. Diva feedback algorithm is just heavy. Yeah, the feedback algorithm is pretty cool. It's definitely nice. ARTFX, you said that workflow is important. Have you ever tried other DAWs like Studio One? No, I haven't tried Studio One, but I have tried other DAWs. I started out with FL Studio when I was younger. FL Studio was pretty much my main DAW for a long time, and I had been using that for so long, really liking it as well. But then I switched to, I wanted to do something different, so I started playing around with other DAWs, and I switched to Reason. I used Reason back then. I really liked it, especially the Maelstrom and the Thor synthesizer were my two favorite devices, and the Scream distortion was really good. But I was missing the VST support, basically. Back then, Reason didn't have VST support, so I was missing my plugins, like Massive and a few other ones, Contact, and I was really missing those. So that made me switch back to FL Studio, but I had now gotten used to the arrangement view of Reason, and going back to FL Studio kind of felt like a step back, because the way you arrange stuff in FL Studio is the main thing I wasn't a fan of. So that was the reason why I actually started looking at different DAWs. And Reason made much more sense for me arrangement-wise, but the thing I didn't really like was the more modular feel of it. So that's what made me switch back to FL Studio, but then I realized, like, okay, the arrangement here is not really what I like. So I started looking into other DAWs, and then I started trying out Cubase. And Cubase has been my main DAW for quite a while, actually. Not many people know that, but Cubase has been my DAW for a long time, and it was my favorite DAW. I liked it really a lot. So Cubase was definitely one that sticks with me for a long time, and a couple of my friends used to work with Cubase as well. So it made a lot of sense back then, because they were older than me, they knew a lot more, and they could easily teach me stuff when I was working in the same DAW as them. And I could just go to their house, sit in their studio while they were producing, and just look over their shoulder, just be there and just look at what they do. And I learned a lot from that. But at a point, I got to this point where I felt Cubase, first of all, it wasn't really running that well on my old computer. I think I wasn't even using my current computer back then. But it wasn't really working that well on my PC. Maybe that was because it was, not a legit copy. I'm not sure. I never owned a legit copy of Cubase. I wasn't making money back then with music either, so I feel like it's okay. I'm not going to promote piracy, but we all know it happens, and we all know that when you're young, you can't afford these, highly overpriced products. Well, not overpriced, but for somebody of that age, they're overpriced, So then at some point, I really didn't feel like I was progressing a lot in Cubase. So that's when I moved quickly back to FL Studio. And then I actually started realizing that I really didn't like FL Studio anymore. And then I found out about Ableton Live. That was around the time that Skrillex became a thing. Like when Skrillex started putting out his first EP, that was when I switched to Ableton. Kind of was because I saw that he used Ableton, and it was not because I wanted to be like him, but it was more like I never had heard of Ableton until Skrillex came around, and I saw that he worked in this program called Ableton Live, and I was like, whoa, this program looks really like it's really good. This program looks like it has a really fast workflow. I need to check it out. So I downloaded the trial version, and it blew me away. Like how quick my workflow became, like after I learned the basic stuff about Ableton Live, how quick my workflow suddenly came. It was such a big change, and that's why Ableton Live sticked with me. It's the whole reason is workflow. I've never been able to work this fast in any of the other DAWs. I've never been able to lay down an idea that I have in my head this fast as I can in Ableton Live. So that's why I use Ableton Live. But whatever works for you works, you know? Take the DAW that you are most comfortable with, because you know, ultimately, you are the one who has to use it. Like, I don't care what DAW that you choose. If you like FL Studio, then do it. Great, you know, I don't care. I just like Ableton Live, and everybody should just find out what they like for themselves, because everybody is different, you know? And your workflow might be completely different from mine, so you might need a different piece of software for that, you know? Whatever works. I never tried Studio One, though. I never tried Studio One. I have tried Logic when I was working on Macs, when I was in art school. I did try Logic there, but seeing I don't own Mac, why would I even, you know, go that way? I'm not going to get a Mac just for Logic if I have Ableton or any of the other DAWs on Windows. So right now, Ableton is my main DAW, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Skrillex Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites got his EP title from the bloody font he uses for his logo. You kidding me? That's crazy. He literally just took the name of a font. That's cool though. I mean, who cares? I mean, the title sticked though. That's definitely a thing. The title was, yeah, it sticked. I use Ableton on Mac and it works so well. Okay. Well, I would expect it to work well on Mac. If it didn't, then that would be something for the Ableton team to look at, because it should work good on Mac, just like it should work good on Windows. So, I hope you liked the stream, guys. I hope you have, well, enjoyed looking at it. I hope you enjoyed being here with me today, making a start to a track. We made a whole bunch of good sounds. It definitely needs a lot of work, like always, but for a quick sketch, I would say this is pretty okay. We can probably do a little bit more to it, but I'm gonna stop streaming in a bit, so let me just play this entire thing that we made today so that you can hear it one more time. Okay, let's have the piano buffer, because... Okay, now it's good again. So, this is what we made today. So, I hope you liked the stream, and I hope to see you back next week. I'm doing live streams every Friday at 8 p.m. Central European time, and it would be great to see you back next week. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, then please subscribe to this channel and click the little notification icon so you get notified as soon as I post a video or when I go live on YouTube. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos this year. I'm trying to up my game with my YouTube tutorials, and it would be great to see you guys on my tutorials as well. Leave a comment if you like this stream, and check out the stream, check out my channel for the stream to be online probably tomorrow. So that's it. Peace.